119, and the All-Star continued to do all-star things. Jaren Jackson Jr. leading the way for the Grizzlies with 37 points tonight, 2 of them there. And a big shout-out for Jaren Jackson Jr. as a Grizz get the win tonight over the Milwaukee Bucks. Welcome to Grizzlies Live postgame presented by your Mid-South Ford dealers, Rob Fisher, Brevin Knight, Pete Pranica with you as the Grizzlies get the win tonight here in Milwaukee. And coming off that Houston win, we talked about it in the pregame show. Mentality was going to be important tonight, and the Grizzlies had the same sort of situation. Had to fight back, kind of stick around, and then they strike in the fourth and win it.
The thing that we've talked about with Grizzlies teams of the past, of course, I say last year was an anomaly. We let that go. But the teams that we talked about, they've been resilient. And we saw a level of resilience tonight from this Grizzlies team. Yes, the Bucks continue to have the lead, but they fought back. And when you have an all-star on your basketball team, well, you always feel like you have a chance. And with Jaren Jackson Jr. being this Grizzlies all-star and go-to player, he stepped up huge for them when they needed it most. Fourth quarter coming up big with the 16 big points in the fourth quarter. But throughout the game, when a basket was needed, he was there to provide.
Well, and you needed to fight fire with fire because Milwaukee made 23s tonight. Jaren had a season-high 7 from deep tonight, 12 of 26 from the floor. And the Grizzlies now can count on him in fourth quarters. Remember the fourth quarter that he had against Minnesota on MLK Day, also did it in Philadelphia. The Grizzlies now 8-2 when he goes for double figures in the fourth quarter. He is certainly a primetime player, and it's a good thing they named him to the All-Star team because the coaches that picked the reserves would look pretty silly if they didn't put him in the game after this one.
37 points, 16 in the fourth quarter for Jaren, 12 of 26 from the field, made 7 threes for the Grizzlies tonight, going 7 of 13, half of the Grizzlies threes as a team. They made 14 tonight in the victory. It was a big night for a couple of Grizzlies. We had 3 players go over 20 points. Desmond Bane went for 22, and then Santi Aldama off the bench tonight for the Grizzlies. He was big, rebounding, scoring for the Grizz.
Well, Santi had a good game in the first game against Milwaukee, but he started that game. Santi, really has come back strong after missing a couple of games due to illness. He was solid tonight, 8 rebounds, block shot, and I just love his better aggressiveness, particularly on the offensive end, and he has been able to handle business, and there's something about this Milwaukee matchup that he really likes.
Well, the other thing for Santi was he made an adjustment at the half and came out in the second half, and he was on attack mode the entire second half. No settling for him at all. It's only the 3 that he shot was a corner 3 late in the basketball game that he knocked down from the corner. But everything other than that was him playing downhill. And because he played downhill, he found a rhythm to the basketball game. He was shooting 3 for 11 at one point, if I'm not mistaken. So from there, you see he goes 6 for 6 after that, and all of that being in the second half.
Well, and remember, the Grizzlies had 24 paint points in the first quarter, and then after that, they kind of got away from that. We're shooting a lot of threes. Well, they end up with 66 paint points tonight and shoot 33 of 57. It's a great percentage in the paint.
Yeah, 9th time this season that Santi has gone for 20-plus points. Grizzlies 8-1 in those 9 games. Well, for the Milwaukee Bucks tonight, you know that Giannis Antetokounmpo is always going to be a problem. It was a bit of a problem tonight, but 30 points, 11 rebounds, double-double, another double-double. He's continued to do that this season. That is I lost my number. I'm sorry. 20 in a row. 20 in a row for Giannis on the double-doubles.
Yeah, I think 37 on the season. But, the Grizzlies made life difficult on him, and the good thing for Giannis is he made a couple of threes. He's now made 6 on the season, but went 0 for 6 from the free throw line, most attempts without a make in a game in his career.
The thing that he wasn't tonight was he wasn't overwhelming. Like the numbers you see, but those numbers weren't those that kept a run going, started a run, stopped a run for the Grizzlies. It was just a function of the basketball game that he's going to get those type numbers. You don't want those to be overwhelming. That gets this crowd going and gets their team going.
Here's another thing I think that was big too. The lead for Milwaukee never got larger than 10.
No, the runs
it was
were
always
small
manageable
for both teams. Runs were small.
Those little 6-0 runs.
Yeah, 13 lead changes in the first half of this basketball game. Only 1 in the second half, and it's when the Grizzlies took over and took charge of this game on their way to the victory here in Milwaukee. Now 5-1 at Fiserv. Grizz with a big win tonight in Milwaukee. Big block here from G.G. Jackson on Giannis Antetokounmpo. My goodness.
Get it out of here.
Grizz win it by 13, 132-119. They've won 8 of their last 9, improved to 13-11 on the road. As we welcome you back to Fiserv Forum here in Milwaukee. Fiserv Forum, where the Grizzlies have won 5 of 6 games against the Bucks. They've also won 7 straight overall against Milwaukee. Big effort from the bench tonight as well. Big game from Santi Aldama, who we already talked about. And boy, we were glowing on Scottie Pippen Jr. as well tonight. Brevin, just a different sort of control from Scottie Pippen Jr. tonight.
Yeah, that's the word that you just said right there is exactly what he did. He controlled the game when he was on the floor, and he kept the pace exactly where the Grizzlies needed to be, but he did not force the issue. What I mean by that is when there was a play to be made when he got to the basket, he made the play, whether it was scoring or finding a teammate. When the play wasn't there, he continued to dribble. They kind of call it the Steve Nash dribble, where he continues to dribble himself out to make a play or attack a second time. The steals to stop transition, stop baskets, these steals were huge because these are all second half steals for him.
Yeah, 4 steals on the night, and I believe 8 of his 10 assists in the fourth quarter. Talk about Jaren scoring in the fourth quarter. What Scottie Pippen Jr. did assisting in the fourth quarter was vital. I thought he was composed, controlled, only a couple of fouls because sometimes he gets overly aggressive and tends to foul. Not tonight. He was totally on point defensively.
7th time this season that Scotty's gone for double-digit assists. So let's hear from the Grizzlies head coach, Taylor Jenkins, following tonight's victory here in Milwaukee.
Man, what a great collective team win. Resilience for 4 quarters. Obviously I thought we were playing really well on the offensive side. Just, they were hitting a bunch of shots. We weren't. And just the resolve of the group, their positivity throughout and the timeouts, dead balls, halftime. They knew what we needed to do. We were going to chip away, tighten up our defense a little bit. That's obviously a calling card of ours, but we talked a lot about the 50-50 balls, and that was a big difference maker in the fourth quarter. Our pace, we just tried to wear them down, and we obviously hit a spark there in that fourth quarter. I mean, great contributions from everyone. Tripp was phenomenal tonight. Guys maybe struggled making some shots. Dez had 8 rebounds. Luke had 8 assists. Santi comes in after a rough first half, knocks down some big shots, big finishes, drives, and then Scottie Pippen, big time spark, plus 22 off the bench, really helped fuel us in that fourth quarter.
You got from Pippen, just how big were they, and what's he kind of meant the way he's kind of contributed lately?
Yeah, I mean, just trying to find ways to contribute to winning. That's what I loved about, him over the course of this season. He's played a lot of different roles, coming off the bench, starting, playing with different personnel. He's progressively gotten better as a decision maker, playmaker. And he and I talked about the other day, your defensive intensity and the pace at which you play unlocks so much for our offense and, just the energy of our team. And obviously we needed him tonight, and he came through big time in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, he did. 8 of his 10 assists coming in that fourth quarter for the Grizzlies tonight. The rebounding number was huge, too, for the Grizzlies. 60-36 rebounding edge for the Grizzlies. And with 21 offensive rebounds, it gave them 15 extra field goal attempts as well.
Yeah, we always say that in the Grizzlies, you look at the turnovers. They only had 3 turnovers in that fourth quarter. I think 12 turnovers for the basketball game. And any time those 12 turnovers led to 15 points, close to the 1-to-1 ratio that you would like. But because it was such a low number that it didn't take away from their possessions, and they gained them with the second chance opportunities.
Yeah, and the Grizzlies had a big advantage on the glass in the first meeting back on October 31st as well.
Well, we got no rest. No rest. We're right back at it tomorrow. Grizzlies will host the San Antonio Spurs, who made a big trade tonight as well, so they might be a little shorthanded. Grizzlies will take on the Spurs tomorrow night, 6:30, Grizzlies Live, 7 o'clock tip, as the Grizz take on the Spurs. De'Aaron Fox going from Sacramento to San Antonio in a trade with, it also included Zach LaVine in Chicago. He goes to Sacramento as well.
So he reunited with DeMar DeRozan. It didn't work in Chicago, so Sacramento saying maybe it'll work here.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right.
But I'm assuming that De'Aaron Fox, the trade call's got to be completed. There's got to be a physical. I can't imagine there's any way he's in Memphis tomorrow.
No, I would doubt it. Grizzlies get the win tonight. This is a big win. Good win for the Grizzlies because of coming off that Houston game, because of what that game meant mentally, to come back and have a game where you had to just stick around and had to be mentally tough to win.
And the
Grizzlies were.
And the Grizzlies have struggled against plus 500 teams on the road.
Sure.
And they handled their business against a Milwaukee team that have won 6 straight in this building. They have a market advantage scoring at home as opposed to the road, and the Grizzlies handled it.
Grizzlies have not struggled against Eastern Conference foes. Now 15-4 on the season against the Eastern Conference. They win it tonight over the Bucks, 132-119. Jaren Jackson Jr. with a huge night. He had 37 to lead the Grizzlies, 23 off the bench from Santi Aldama. Desmond Bane had 22 to go along with 8 rebounds. The Grizzlies win it 132-119. We're back home tomorrow to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Until then, good night, everyone.